when we were going to have our son, it was the first child born on the neighborhood in 25 years. I mean, most of the people are older people. And we weren't used to that, you know. It was like, I don't know if you saw that movie Pleasantville.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
Yeah. We used to call our neighborhood Pleasantville because when we moved in, the people brought us all these food, different homemade foods and stuff. And then when they found out we were going to have the baby, they brought all these little things over. This lady made a sock monkey homemade and brought it over for Nico and everything. It was just one of those things. And when he started talking about his mother making the brownies, it brought back all these memories. These people just came over, just, you know, that's just the way it is.
Very good. We're running up on the next hour, believe it or not, almost 1 a.m. here on WMMB, Light Rock 99.3 and KISS 95.1, where we will continue with our Hurricane Matthew coverage throughout the night, up to and through the storm, and into the recovery after. So we're here with you before, during, and after the storm. Keyword storm at all of our station websites, WMMBAM.com, LightRock993.com, and MyKISS951.com. We're back in 6 minutes right here.
Fire up your DVR. It's time for your TV tip-off.
Friday brings us night 2 of the iHeartRadio Music Festival with even more buzzworthy highlights. The final night of the history-making show begins Friday at 8/7 Central on the CW. And that's your TV tip-off on iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio Music You Should Know, featuring OAR, I Go Through. Create your own OAR custom station with iHeartRadio. Download the app or listen at iHeartRadio.com.
Now back to wall-to-wall coverage of Hurricane Matthew. Remember, if you lose power, you can always listen to these reports on our iHeartRadio app. For more details, go to LightRock993.com.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Rick Springfield to get some insight on his latest release, Rocket Science.
It's a guitar-based record for sure, and I love big hooks, and it's not a country record at all. It's a rock and roll record, but it does have some country elements.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from Rick Springfield and all your favorite artists.
tonight at 8 on CW18.
Take care, Grandma.
Okay, baby. Don't forget to let me know the second you get there.
Yes, ma'am.
My grandson always tells me I worry about him too much. And of course I do. I'm his grandma. Well, I was worried sick when he came home from Afghanistan. He came back wounded. It wasn't a wound you could see. It was a wound inside. Post-traumatic stress disorder. My T couldn't sleep. He was angry all the time. He felt like he didn't fit in anywhere. Then I heard about this group, Wounded Warrior Project. People helping warriors like T. So I figured who better to help my grandson than people who could understand what he'd been through. Now, I don't know what they do there, but my T is smiling again. So I figured they must be good people.
1 out of every 5 warriors return from the battlefield with post-traumatic stress disorder. Help support them at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Hi guys, I'm Victoria Robertson. I'd like to talk a minute about why it's so important for 18-year-old men to register with Selective Service. When you register, you're doing the right thing by putting your name on a list of all young men in the country so Uncle Sam can get in touch with you if he needs to. Not only that, but keeping yourself eligible for important programs and benefits. If you want a student loan, job training, or a government job, you have to be registered with Selective Service. It's easy to register. In fact, if you can get on the internet at home, school, or in the local library, you can register online. All a man has to do is visit the Selective Service website at sss.gov and click Register Online now. Selective Service registration. Do it for me, do it for yourselves, today, right now.
Register with Selective Service online at sss.gov or at the post office.
It's the law.
Now back to wall-to-wall coverage of Hurricane Matthew. Remember, if you lose power, you can always listen to these reports on our iHeartRadio app. For more details, go to WMMBAM.com.
The light rack guys are really liking this at this point.
Yeah.
No can do.
Can't go for that. That's why Ken's trying to push it all.
No can do.
Off. Yeah. Very
Is it weird
good.
that I know that song too?
Yeah.
iHeartRadio's coverage of Hurricane Matthew along the Space Coast. Glad you're along with us. Bill Mick with Ken Holiday and Michael W. Lowe from Light Rock 99.3 and Twitter Boy, a.k.a. Wingnut, from KISS 95.1. Glad you're all with us this morning. We're probably an hour away from starting to feel the major gust and having the major rain. But Wingnut, you were outside. You said we're starting to see a little bit of something.
It was massively surprising. Again, just to see how hour over hour it feels like outside. I was nervous opening that door.
It started to get a little scary.
Yeah. I mean,
The rain is sideways.
Mike.
It's hurricane season.
I was wondering if anybody was going to catch
Need
that.
to bring him up.
Oh, here you go, Michael. Hang on. There you
Hi,
are.
how are you?
There we go.
Hey, by the way, has anybody seen any sausage, egg, croissant sandwiches? They were in the freezer.
See, now he's all worried about us stealing his
I'm
food.
just playing.
Hey,
Just playing.
can I just say something
Just
real
goes to show
quick
you
without
paying attention.
and again, there's no alcohol in this building, so this isn't speaking from alcohol, okay?
Really?
But
Okay, that's it. I'm leaving.
Here we are in Brevard County. We work here. We all live here. You know, we all work on our different radio stations for iHeartMedia.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how when something happens like this in our community, which we work for and we love, we all get together and we do this. I mean, if you think about everybody that's in this building right now, a lot of
We're
working
hardly
behind
here
the
at the
scenes.
same time.
Yeah. You got the market president of the company here in the building with his wife and his dogs, and he's here helping out. Brought in lunch today. He's supplying all the stuff.
And the cop in me appreciates the Krispy Kremes. Well
Yeah,
done.
Krispy
Way to go,
Kremes.
boss.
That's a
job.
big thing.
Inner fat kid in me is like,
Shut up, inner fat kid, okay? Talk to me after you get fat.
Our engineer who lives in Orlando comes over every day. He's been here all morning long doing his thing. We've got Kevin from KISS. We got all of us from here in the building. We got Mimi, our traffic girl, putting in commercials. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Teamwork here is amazing, and I just want to say thanks to everybody. It's great. It's just great to work with a group like this.
Well, really fortunate. We experienced this one other time back in 2004 when we did the back-to-back-to-back storms. And Ken, you were out because you were having a hip replacement.
That's right.
And of course, Ken's the boss. For anybody who doesn't know, Ken's the boss here. And with him being out, we were kind of wondering what were we going to do programming wise. I mean, we had the GM here at the time, and Barb Latham did a phenomenal job.
Yes, she did. But she was really the boss.
But we wondered how we were going to get through it with you out. But we had the same kind of environment. We had everybody from every radio station working together. We had teams of people working on closing information, things that are still open information, and everything you can imagine coming in here. And it was great. And it is this time, too.
Yeah.
And, Bill, you had that story earlier about the air conditioner that went up on the ceiling, and you were trying to figure out who that other person was.
Was that you?
No, it's James Steele.
Is that right?
Yeah, James was here then. Yeah.
I remember because I did come by to visit before I left, remember? And I wheeled myself in here. And James had his... and so did Wingnut. They had their pillows and blankets, and they were all loaded up and ready to go. It was amazing.
We had a very, very interesting crew here
Yeah,
at the time, and that
great.
was a lot of fun. And same thing with this crew this time. Everybody is doing a phenomenal job, just keeping everything together.
Hey, can I be Captain Obvious for a second?
Sure.
Just got the word that flights out of and into Miami, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and Orlando international airports are canceled.
Yeah, where
That
you
is
been?
Thank you, Captain Obvious. You got to love that.
Where you been?
I said Captain Obvious, didn't I?
Yeah,
Didn't I
okay.
tell myself?
Who sent you the announcement? Where did it come from?
I took a nap and it came into my dreams. No, of course we.
I love the guy that's been gone for 4 hours and he comes in and you go, "How you feeling?" "I didn't sleep worth a darn." Okay, nice try.
I didn't. It was a very light. I'm a very light sleeper when I'm not in my bed.
National Weather Service actually just forecasted or just put this tweet out that the forecast at the Melbourne airport at 12:57 is reporting sustained 60-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah,
So it's here. It's here. Yeah,
Sustained. So, welcome to starting to experience this storm.
Yeah, if you look at the radar there, you can see that big band of that green he was talking about where the wind is coming through. It's that's a big thick one right there that's coming through right now for the next 30 minutes or 20 minutes.
I look at that lightning speaking in your favor.
Yeah.
Seeing that lightning on the northeast side of that wall. That's nice to see.
That's a good sign.
Pull it away, baby. Pull it away. We'll take that.
Now this is when our job starts. Keeping everybody
absolutely it does.
calm and informed about what's going on. So we've been warming up. Now the game is on.
Yeah, I'm seeing on the radar, the live radar that's happening. It's published. It started at 12:15, and it's publishing till about 1:04 a.m. Of a band here that's just starting to crest over towards Melbourne. But it looks like the wall, like Jack had said, we still don't know who our new.
We'll catch up with AccuWeather here in about 20 after, about 9 minutes away.
It does look like the wall is well off the coast by, I guess it would be closer to Stewart, Port St. Lucie, and Fort Pierce, making its way up north, entering into Brevard.
And again, the good thing is it's still rebuilding the eye wall. As you can see, it's really wide open right there, Bill, as I was explaining earlier. See how there's a big gap open there? So it's still building.
As that tightens down, though, that's when it intensifies.
Exactly, but see, it's been longer. It's been wide open like that for a lot longer which makes it weaken. And look at the cone now. It looks like it's even further off of our coast there. I'm telling you, my feeling for this is coming around, boys.
Ken put out the good juju.
Get ready.
He put out the good
Get
juju.
ready. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
All right.
I thought he was going to reach over and smack me in the head for a minute.
Yeah. Hey, these are monkey arms, man. They come in handy. Ask Andy McDonald.
Okay.
You want to weigh in here, we do invite you at 321-768-1240, 321-632-5483, and 321-821-5477 as we get through the storm together. We are marching up on it, and it's, like Wingnut said, 60-mile-an-hour winds sustained here just 2 blocks away at the Melbourne International Airport. So it is upon us here. So your reading on opening the door was pretty much dead on there.
What's that? Sorry.
Welcome back there, Wayne.
The open door coincided with the actual report.
Oh, yes, no, opening out that
Your
was...
trepidation in opening the door was justified.
He slipped him the information and they went ahead and said, we're going to confirm it because Wingnut said it.
Wingnut, what he's trying to say is the hypothetical stimulation is confronted by the malfunction of the hypothesis, okay?
That was more confusing, and I...
Okay.
Wow.
Product of Brevard.
You better go get a sandwich or something. I think the hunger's getting to you.
Didn't get that very much.
Anyway.
That is very good. Ken, I know you've been here your whole life. Have you seen a storm? You haven't seen one of this magnitude. What's the most damage you saw from a storm in your lifetime?
You know, I got to say the one that was most shocking for me that I saw the most and didn't think we actually were surprised was Charlie.
Yeah.
When it came across the state and it came through fast. And you were like, man, that went by fast. That was nothing. And the damage that it
And
took.
that's before you went out for your hip.
Yeah.
You and I were here together that
Yeah,
night.
remember, we kind of went home like, no big deal. And then from Tampa all the way through here, there was devastation everywhere
I
and
was
damage
at the
everywhere.
EOC for that
Primarily
one.
North Brevard,
Right. Oh, yeah.
They sent us home at 2 o'clock in the morning. It went by so fast.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, we were gone.
Yeah, and then everybody went, oh, that was nothing. And then when they started calculating the houses that were damaged and the electricity that was out, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Because it didn't seem like it happened so fast it didn't even seem, I mean, you blinked your eyes and it was gone.
Yeah, but Walt Disney was open the next day.
Yeah.
They were open by 9 a.m. the next morning.
We talked about them a little earlier. Can you say they just don't shut down?
No, they've shut down 4 times, I think, in their lifetime.
The only thing that they had canceled today was the kid thing.
Yeah, and they were asking the people in the Fort Wilderness, the Wilderness area, you know, with the campground, to come either to the hotels or to leave. And then it wasn't until 5 o'clock yesterday that they closed the park. But, you know, you got to remember, too, the size of the park and the employees that they, have there, just being shut down for 6 hours on a regular day that they're expecting to make revenue, that's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of loss. So I get it. I just, when we talked earlier, I was just a little disappointed because there's some employees that are minimum wage employees that you're asking to come in and do stuff when, they could be home getting their house ready or just getting to a safe place in Orlando. So,
did you talk about that you did that? You did the thing?
I try not to talk about that anymore.
I like it because he can say it in Spanish.
It scarred him for life.
That's what started it. That's got all this Spanish stuff started.
Yeah.
Because he had to learn it.
I'm not going to do it, Wingnut.
Man, that's all I wanted to hear. I went earlier today. That's all I wanted to hear. I kept saying it, but I knew I was saying it wrong.
Very good. Michael, what about you? Is there one particular storm memory that stands out for you?
David, 1980, was probably the drive down A1A in Cocoa Beach. Every sign that had any sort of material that it could be pierced by wind or projectiles was smashed out. The Ranjan sign, heaven help us, was destroyed, and everything along that street. There were wires in the road, and I was in the car with my mom and dad, and I said, I think we need to turn around and get out of here because this does not look good. And there were wires all over the place. It took a good week before everything was put back together. That was the most devastation I'd ever seen.
Wingnut, I know you have significantly less opportunity, but you've seen some things in your
Well,
days.
yeah, when we ran, like I said, in 04, my dad was still able to drive at that moment. We ran down to Miami. On our way back, we ended up taking the turnpike from Miami up to the north, and this was back when we had Nokia brick phones in 04.
Oh, yeah.
And our Nokia brick phones, we ran out of cell service, and I was driving up in an old El Camino in these hurricane winds, and I remember coming in and seeing all the trees that were downed up the turnpike and up 95 and stuff.
Let's join our sister station, WFLA. Bryant, you're on with Bill Mick, Ken Holiday, Mike Lowe, and Wingnut.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, Brian.
How are you?
Hey, it's going well. Yeah, I was just trying to get you guys on the air to discuss this with Ryan Gorman a little bit down here in 970.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put you guys up now.
Okay.
Up for the next segment. Is that all right?
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
well,
fine.
we're live now on our show, so whenever he's ready.
All right. Yep. I'll go ahead and
Okay.
pop
Okay.
That'll work.
And this is a little bit of the backstage here.
Yeah. See, this is how it goes, people. We usually have this totally set up before we open up the mic, but this is live radio, so you're going to get to see how this all lays out. And while we're on hold, we usually make fun of that other radio station. No, just kidding. And then when they come on, we act like we've known them
That has
forever.
no football game to carry on Saturday because the one we told you was playing earlier has now been, at least the ACC said we're going to cancel that one.
That's right.
Well, this is the situation. This is what you hear when you call us to try to be on the radio. You get put on hold.
Yeah.
Except we're not winning a prize right now.
Yeah. There are no games.
Yeah.
We're not?
We're
I'm
not-
hanging
no.
up.
No,
We're not caller. We're not caller 9.
At the very
Sorry.
least, they could give us, tickets to the Dolphins or something.
I
Let's
thought
go.
I thought this guy said his name was Bruce.
Yeah.
Said Bryant up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
We'll see where
calling
it goes.
from Delaware. Here we go.
Hey, fellas, this break's over in 30 seconds, and then we're going to go ahead and go on.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, look
All
at
right.
that.
I don't have much time. I got the Weather Channel coming on,
Yeah.
I've got AccuWeather coming on in a minute.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Yep. Whoops, I just lost my connection here. What's
No, thank you. Okay.
And we are back in the whole board as they're about ready to.
As I'm looking here, still too, it looks like I should probably refresh the page, but the bands are starting to come in.
Adam, ask AccuWeather if they will hold on for 3 or 4 minutes while we talk to WIOD in Miami while this is going on.
10-4. Roger that. Oh, he's coming now. Watch. This is how he tees us up. Listen.
Heart Radio in Melbourne to find out what's going on there. I know we have Kevin Campbell with us. How are you?
Kevin's not in here, but that's okay.
Kevin's not. All right.
Okay.
Now you got Bill Mick from WMMB, Wingnut from Kiss 95.1, Mike Lowe, and Ken Holiday from Light Rock 99.3. We're all kind of sitting in here in the studio, going about play-by-play with the storm, getting ready as we just got a huge band that came whipping through and dumping some rain on us right now, and we're sitting here waiting for Matthew to come over here and smack us around a little bit.
Yeah, that's what it seems like it wants to do. Melbourne looks like it's getting hit pretty hard right now. I was looking at some of the reporters, CNN, Fox News, they always send the reporters out there to be right in the middle of the storm, and one of them was in Melbourne, and they were getting blown around pretty good, so... outside the window, I mean, what is it that you guys are seeing? Does it look pretty rough out there?
Well, Wingnut just checked with the airport, and we also took a quick look out the door, and what we saw was kind of exactly what's happening. Wingnut, you want to tell them to give them the numbers on that?
Yeah, it looked like when I opened the door, it was a little intimidating, and we did actually end up seeing that were some tweets out at the airport of 60-mile-an-hour winds, and obviously as we get into 2, 3, 4, 5 a.m. is when the winds will increase and gust over 110 miles an hour is the reports we've been getting as well from AccuWeather.
Wow.
Our concern here, Brian, is where is it going to make landfall if it does? Where are we going to have the eye of the storm closest to the Space Coast? Because from that point north, you have a stronger storm surge, much more in intensity and danger from that wall of waters. South of that point, a little bit less, a 3 to 5 foot storm surge on the south side. North side could be upwards of 10 feet.
This is special live coverage of Operation Stormwatch Hurricane Matthew via iHeartRadio all throughout the state of Florida. We're talking to our friends in Melbourne right now. What was it like leading up to Hurricane Matthew today in Melbourne? Were people taking it seriously? Were they taking proper precautions ahead of time?
Interestingly enough, the mandatory evacuation order for the Barrier Island, Merritt Island, and low-lying areas to include mobile homes was issued for 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Our concern was that folks, because of previous storms not bringing great damage, would be laissez-faire about it. They weren't. They have evacuated for the most part. Those who were trying to remain came to their senses largely this morning as we talked to them and began evacuating, because it looks like this thing, the biggest storm we have faced, the most wind speed we've had to deal with, and probably more rain that we've dealt with in a storm situation like this, Brian.
When did you first start to feel the effects of Hurricane Matthew? I know you're heading towards the worst of the storm, but when did you first start to see, the really heavy rain bands and the winds start to pick up?
It actually started pretty early this morning at 8 o'clock there. The sun was out, and then we walked into the building, and when we walked in the building, all of a sudden the rain just came charging down, and it was completely dark out, and then boom, the sun was out 10 minutes later. So right about then is when we started to see these little bands come through, and now we're getting some pretty heavy downpours right now.
Special live coverage of Operation Stormwatch Hurricane Matthew. I'm your host, Ryan Gorman. We're checking in with our friends in Melbourne. Let me ask you this. What are people most concerned about in that area as this storm makes its way up the coast of Florida and really starts to hit you guys the hardest?
Well, most of the damage is going to come from the storm surge, and after the storm passes, it's going to be the water that's the major problem, whether it's standing water, whether it's floods in areas you may not have expected, and down power lines. Of course, we're going to be without power for some period of time. You just expect it.
Yeah, Brian, what you got to remember is, we got the ocean, and then about 1.5 miles inland, you got the intercoastal waterway, and then you got us. So, there's two areas of water, and with the storm surge, there's going to be some lifts in the intercoastal waterways as well. So, there's a lot to look at here. And if they were talking about landfall in Cape Canaveral or Port Canaveral area, that would also bring the storm surge up in our area as well. And then this last report, they're saying that it may not even hit along or touch ground in Florida, which would be great because we don't need that size storm surge in this area.
Well, the other thing, there's a lot of people that don't even realize what's going to go on here because, one, we haven't had a major storm since 2004, and two, this will be the biggest storm to hit this area since 1851. We've never had a Category 4 hurricane hit the Brevard County area and the Space Center. Never
Mike,
happened.
you were just a young guy then.
I was 5, I believe it was. Yeah. And by the way, Jim Cantori's in town, so be careful.
Yeah, whenever he shows up, you know it's serious.
You got that right.
Let me ask you this about the people there. Did you find that most people heeded the evacuation warnings, and were people trying to get out of Melbourne and go to other places?
We didn't have traffic jams, which is a good thing. Traffic seemed to flow fairly smoothly. Most of the people did heed the warnings. Thank God, because the barrier islands are really in jeopardy here. We're going to see some problems over in that area. I live over there, and I'm kind of worried about what I find when I go home. But we've got a job to do, and we're here. We'll see what happens. A lot of folks did evacuate, and we're glad to hear that.
Absolutely. And how about power outages? Have you heard of any so far up there? We know there's well over 100,000 power outages throughout the state of Florida. What have you heard in your area?
Well, right now it actually just got updated by FPL, updated at 1:15 a.m. More than 13,000 Brevard County Florida Power and Light customers are now without power, and the company will be restoring power as soon as it is safe for crews to begin restoring the power in Brevard.
This is one thing I haven't heard a lot about tonight, and I'm not sure if you guys will have the answer to this question, but do you know what the tides are like in Melbourne?
Well, I know the high, excuse me, the high tide is the area of concern. I don't have the tide table here, but we can look it up really quick here. But that's when the rubber meets the road as far as beach erosion and things like that.
Yeah, because those waves are going to be larger anyway because of the storm, and that's just going to push the storm surge even further. So that's the big problem.
What was it like in terms of gas stations and grocery stores? What did you see? Were there long lines leading up to this storm, and were supplies gone pretty fast?
Yesterday, gas stations had run out. They were resupplied today, not in large number, but some of them. The public stores in the area deserve a lot of credit. They stayed open until 2 o'clock this afternoon. Their employees, putting the welfare of the community ahead of their own homes and their families to make sure that everybody had the opportunity to get everything they needed for this storm. They deserve a lot of credit for that.
Absolutely. Anything else that we should know from your area as we check within different areas around the state of Florida? Obviously, you're at the top of our mind right now because you're getting some of the worst of it.
Yeah, well, that's our main focus right now is between 2 and 5 right now, where we're going to be expecting the worst of it all. And so we're just kind of trying to keep everybody informed and calm and, get through it together.
Absolutely. This is one of those times where radio becomes very important, especially if the power goes out.
Oh, yeah.
Fortunate to do what we do, and we're glad to be here. We'll be here through it with everybody.
All right, thank you so much. Our friends in Melbourne joining us.
There you go, and that's how it's done.
And now let's get in with our friends at AccuWeather and the WMMB Weather Center. Matt Rendy is with us. Hey, Matt, good morning.
Oops.
Matt, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay,
all right.
There he is.
Very good. Bill Mick, Ken Holiday, Mike Lowe, and Wingnut in here. Let's get our latest report from you guys.
Well, the storm is just still meandering offshore. The good news is, of course, is it looks like the track of the storm is going to be a little bit closer or a little further away from the coast. So that is going to be good news for most people. That is going to reduce the storm surge. That is going to reduce the amount of the strongest wind gusts, holding it just offshore. Now, that still does not diminish the impacts of the storm overall. We're still going to be inundated with significant rainfall, looking for 4 to 8 inches in general just around the whole entire east coast of Florida itself. There will be, of course, pockets where a foot of rain will fall. You add to that, as you mentioned, the storm surge. Just getting rid of water will be very difficult for a long period of time. The one piece of bad news is it does look like the storm has slowed down here in the last hour or two, and that could lead to concerns that the problems that we are facing will last longer into the daylight hours. Now, I will say that it looks like the closest approach will be somewhere closer to daybreak, 7, 8 a.m., so we could still continue to see impacts from the storm for even a few more hours after now. By late morning, fine, that system looks like it's going to be shifting off, and Matthew will become more of a aftermath problem from that point forward. Now, of course, we do have a concern that this thing does do a little bit of a loop and comes back around here sometime early next week, far diminished from what it is right now.
Matt, at that 7 to A closest approach, do we have an idea of where that's going to be now? Are we still projecting Port Canaveral or some point north of there?
I think Port Canaveral is very close to, about as close as it's going to get to, and hopefully it remains just offshore. I think that it still looks like it, given the latest information here, looks like it's going to be the case. It's going to be just offshore, but very close.
All right, very good. Other things we might need to watch out for? I know we get our next update at the top of the hour. Anything we need to be concerned about until we see that?
Just looks like the heavier rain bands are starting to come in even harder now, so do take caution. If anybody's out in this, please do take caution.
Matt Rendy from the WMMB Weather Center and AccuWeather. Thank you, my friend. We'll talk to you at about 10 till.
All right.
Thanks much. 321-768-1240, 321-632-5483, and 321-821-5477. Your worst storm experience, something we're interested in hearing from you as we continue in just moments right here on WMMB, KISS 95.1, and Light Rock 99.3.
iHeartRadio music you should know. Shaggy, That Love. Create your own Shaggy custom station with iHeartRadio. Download the app or listen at iHeartRadio.com.
Now back to wall-to-wall coverage of Hurricane Matthew. Remember, if you lose power, you can always listen to these reports on our iHeartRadio app. For more details, go to lightrock993.com.
This is the 80s Show.
Jeff Stevens here, and I'm ready to rock the 80s all over again. Join me this Saturday as I bring you 6 hours of the best 80s.
All 80s, totally.
The 80s Show, from 6 to midnight right here on Light Rock 99.3.
while I'm at work. It makes work go by a lot faster.
It makes every day a great day.
It makes every day a great day.
Light Rock 99.3.
Choose from. That's why it would behoove your business to be part of the Show Your Stripes movement. Go to iHeartRadio.com/Show Your Stripes. Join companies like ISO Group, CrossFit Port St. Lucie, Mobile Integrated Technologies, Endyne, PSI of Florida, Boathouse Discount Marine, O'Galley Electric, Richards Paint, Dependable Handyman and Cleaning, Beacon Roof Cleaning, and West Melbourne Health and Rehabilitation Center, and become a Show Your Stripes supporter. Hire smart, hire vets with iHeartRadio.com/Show Your Stripes.
Soon this little baby I'm singing to sleep will start to walk. First, she'll crawl. Then take her first baby steps. Before I know it, I'll be dropping her off at school. I'll be watching her run down a soccer field. Staying up all night waiting for her to get home from her first date. Wincing when she steps on the gas pedal and then the brakes. Beaming when she walks up to accept her diploma, or holding back tears as she takes those big steps down the aisle. But before she takes all those steps, she and thousands like her will need you to take yours. Gather your family, friends, and co-workers and join March for Babies to help make her steps possible. Start your team today at marchforbabies.org.
There's one man on this earth who really, truly gets it.
But the president's number one job is to secure America. The president's number one job is to make sure Americans are safe. Folks, this whole thing's turned upside down. All we ever talk about are the rights of illegal aliens. All we ever talk about is, oh, the poor refugees. We have rights in this country. And it's the job of the federal government to secure the borders.
Mark Levin is on the radio.
Every weeknight at 6 on WMMB.
Now back to wall-to-wall coverage of Hurricane Matthew. Remember, if you lose power, you can always listen to these reports on our iHeartRadio app. For more details, go to WMMBAM.com.
Continuing coverage of... Would you get out of here?
That looks good on Facebook Live.
Hurricane Matthew coverage on our Melbourne iHeartMedia stations, WMMB, Light Rock 99.3, and KISS 95.1. Ken Holiday, Mike Lowe, Wingnut, and yours truly, Bill Mick, with you. You want in, and we're looking for your hurricane stories or your other disaster stories. It doesn't have to be a hurricane. We're just looking for gore today. And anyway, well, that started out on A, and now it's on B. That's done that twice already. It's done it twice.
There you go.
And now it's still not working. Oh, there we go. I got to do that.
Hold on, let me fix that.
Technology.
Got it. I already hit it once.
So when we were on with that other guy, I totally forgot. Sorry, I was busy typing in Google. I did find out that right now at 12:23 a.m. was high tide. We are now working our way towards low tide. We're low tide for today.
So optimum for when the storm gets closest. Yeah. That's good to hear.
Low tide's going to be at 6:22 a.m.
Very good. So
it's high tide right now.
It's working its way down towards low tide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's get it out of the way now.
Is that a 12-hour cycle?
Yes.
It goes high, low.
And
yeah, but is it a 12-hour cycle?
Oh, yeah, it'll be around 12 o'clock later today when the high tide comes back.
So it's a 6-hour cycle.
Yeah.
Okay. 12:55 for Friday, which is now today, is high tide for Friday.
Okay.
So it's really great that it worked out that way, that low tide's going to be as Matthews was most intense.
It looks like it will hit us at the right time. Again, if you want to weigh in with us here this morning as the storm is starting to give us some impact, 321-768-1240, 321-632-5483, and 321-821-5477. We're going to check in with Rick. Doesn't say where he's at, but it does say he's a California transplant. Are you telling us you're a storm rookie, Rick?
Yeah, I am a storm rookie. I'm about a half a mile, south of your studio.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I've lived in California for 30 years after growing up in Alabama. and we didn't get the same kind of warnings that we got for this storm here, Hurricane, what's the name? It was, this has been new for me. It's like, oh my God, we're all going to die in about 2.5 days.
Yeah, that's true.
And now, I lived in Northridge, California in 1994. The epicenter for the earthquake was probably about 50 feet below my pillow.
Okay.
Wow.
And that was a whole different experience than this. And this is like several other things in Florida. Hurry up and wait.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any military life?
Did I do what?
Were you in the military at all?
I was in the Air Force.
Okay, well, you know what hurry up and wait's all about then.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Yeah, that's...
But Bill, I listen to you every morning, and I had about a 20-minute career in radio myself long ago.
Okay.
And you keep me updated, and you actually wake me up some mornings.
Well, Rick, thank you. I appreciate that. Glad you are with us, and we'll weather this thing. We'll get through it. We're just going to have to see where it takes us,
I don't understand how businesses shut down a day and a half in advance.
Some people, we got to give some people a chance to get the heck out of here if they don't want to be here for it.
Yeah.
And if only they wouldn't come back.
Yeah, happy kind of guy there, aren't you, Rick?
Howdy, neighbor.
All right, we appreciate it, Rick. It's good to talk to you. And stay in touch. Let us know how you're faring through this thing.
Rick likes people.
He likes fences,
when they're away.
Yeah.
Fences make good neighbors. There you go.
Well, out in the middle of the O'Gallia River, Fred is back with us. Fred, what are you experiencing now?
Oh, I figured we're in hurricane conditions.
Yeah, you figured that was going to happen soon, yeah.
Fortunately for me, the wind has gone up north. The guys that anchored out, it was like a clown scenario, and the wind has gone more east. I mean, you're going to go ashore, not hit me now, so I'm pretty happy.
Good.
But this is your typical thing, and I suspect it's going to get worse. But I'm looking at Waterline Marine, and I'm seeing at least one boat over there where they take their roller furling down, and that thing's out, and that's just going to rip apart and probably tear part of it back up. So we're going to get a lot of damage on that. Any dock along the intercoastal that's not sheltered probably going to be tracked.
Boy.
Yeah, it does. It's going to be. I've got a painting, and good to hear from you, Fred. Hang in there. Hope you survive this thing, and you seem to be in good position with those other boats not in your way.
So
any
far,
longer.
so good.
So yeah, that's not bad. I've got a painting that used to hang on my office wall. I think I've got it at the house in the new house.